Explain to us how this deal is better than Nafta, if you believe it is.
Thank you very much. It's a real pleasure to be with you today. I think what we were able to manage to accomplish in this agreement is to build upon 25 years of successful free trade. We were able to maintain free trade across all sectors between Mexico and the U.S., also with Canada. And we were able to modernize our agreement by introducing new disciplines that are essential to today's world economy, such as digital trade, telecommunications, good regulatory practices, mechanisms to help SMEs, small, medium-sized enterprises, internationalize and take advantage of trade agreements. And we were also, in addition to modernizing the agreement, we were able to preserve and strengthen the mechanisms for dispute settlement. So I think we have a state-of-the-art agreement that will be a model for years to come, both at the WTO and in other international trade negotiations.
So that's all very positive, but I'm curious, does it make Mexico too dependent on the United States?
No, as a matter of fact, on a parallel track as we were negotiating with the U.S., Mexico was engaged in a very ambitious program of trade diversification. We modernized our agreement with the European Union. We finished and ratified the Trans-Pacific Agreement, the CPTPP, and we also consolidated our relationship with South America through the Pacific Alliance with Chile, Colombia, and Peru, and we're actively negotiating with Brazil and Argentina. So on a parallel track, yes, 80% of our trade is concentrated within North America, but we're very ambitiously pursuing a program to diversify our trade. So that is definitely a positive for our country, and I hope we will continue to do so in the future.
Kenneth, do you worry that the midterm elections in the United States and the Democrats taking the House may make it harder for the transaction to go through north of the border? Do you worry that U.S. politics could once again get in the way?
Well, we have been following the process very closely. We're aware that the House of Representatives is now under Democratic majority. We will be following the process as it goes forward, but we don't believe it's something that could eventually have a negative impact on the agreement. We understand, as is the case in every one of the Nafta countries, that the legislative powers will have the final word regarding the ratification of the agreement. But many of the initiatives that are pursued by the Democratic Party in the U.S. in terms of trade policy have been introduced into the new Nafta, the USMCA. We strengthened the labor provisions dramatically. We gave them teeth, made them subject to dispute settlement mechanisms. We introduced new protections for worker rights, protection of migrant workers, combating violence in the workplace and discrimination based on gender. So we really have a state-of-the-art agreement on many of the policies that for many years the Democratic Party has been concerned with. We also have new provisions to protect the environment, and we think that it's a strong agreement that can be ratified in all three countries.
Kenneth, I look around the world and I can't help but think that we've reached peak globalization. You're a trade negotiator. Do you believe that as well? Because if so, your life's going to get more and more difficult from here.
Well, you know, I think worldwide, all trade negotiators in all countries need to face the fact that we need to continue working on building consensus on the benefits of free trade. I mean, without a doubt, the situation that we saw in Brexit, the U.S. election, governments in Eastern Europe and other places coming into power with a different view regarding the impacts of globalization. The view in Mexico is that we need to continue presenting our country as a country that's open to the world, that's an open economy that has evolved over many years in creating wealth and benefits for our population precisely based on the benefits of free trade and, of course, domestic structural reform. So we do believe that it's a different world environment. We need to continue to convince people on the benefits of free trade. And I think an example of getting the USMCA done, where we were at the beginning of this negotiation, where it looked like we may not have a Nafta anymore, and where we are now, is definitely a positive outcome and could help other trade negotiations throughout the world.